Now, this assessor, I learned over time, is lightning fast on the mute button. In hindsight, I am certain that their fit of laughter was hidden from me to preserve my naive, youthful exuberance so that they could allow fate to run its course.
You are listening to the Mindful Business Security Show, brought to you by Phocivity, where we answer your questions and simplify information security for small businesses. Get the clarity you need to focus on the things that matter.
Hey there! Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Accidental CISO, and you're listening to episode 0 of the Mindful Business Security Show. This episode will be a little different from our regular episodes going forward. Today, I want to introduce myself. I also want to tell you what the Mindful Business Security Show will be and why I am so excited to have the opportunity to host this podcast for you. Please take a moment and tap the subscribe button so that you don't miss episode 1 when it's released in a few weeks. I think you're really going to enjoy it. All right, now I have to address the elephant in the room. Why on earth is the Mindful Business Security Show hosted by an accidental CISO? And how is it even possible to accidentally become the Chief Information Security Officer of a company? I'll answer the second question first, and I'll tell you the story. Yes, it is absolutely possible. Not only is it possible, it's more common than you might think. Here's how it all went down. I had just started a new job where I was supposed to run infrastructure and operations at a startup. My role was to be that of an operations manager, not a CISO. About 2 weeks in, I was handed a security questionnaire from a prospective customer. Since I was new, I took it as a learning opportunity and hunted down the answers. The customer was happy. The chief operating officer was happy. Everything was good, or so I thought. You know that saying, whoever touches it last owns it? Well, it's a thing. A few days later, the COO emailed the entire company to inform everyone that any future security questions should be directed to me. Looking back, that probably should have been a red flag. Anyway, I suppose it's worth mentioning that information security is not something new to me. I've spent most of my IT career at the intersection of security, infrastructure, and operations. Little did I know, the proverbial slope was about to become very slippery. The COO called me into his office a few weeks later and asked if I could help him select a firm to audit us so that we could gain HITRUST certification for our product. I agreed and spoke with several different assessors. I put together a scoring system and a weighted scorecard and selected one for us to work with. As I finished presenting my selection to the leadership team, the CEO asks, "When will it be done?" Red flag number 2. I just wasn't picking up the signs. Not long after the project kicked off, the assessor asked me a series of questions as part of their readiness assessment to help me gauge how much work we had ahead of us to get ready. One of the questions was, who was named as the security officer of the company? Now, this assessor, I learned over time, is lightning fast on the mute button. In hindsight, I am certain that their fit of laughter was hidden from me to preserve my naive, youthful exuberance so that they could allow fate to run its course. I caught up with my VP and COO that afternoon and asked who the security officer was. "Oh, well, that's you." Their response sealed my fate. There was definitely some swearing and gnashing of teeth as I went back to the assessor to tell them the news. The assessor simply said, "That'll happen." That response was so knowing and nonchalant, I'm pretty sure I was set up. Anyway, what's done is done, right? In the years since I accidentally became the CISO, I've built information security programs and helped many clients do the same. I wish that I could say that my story is unique, but on more than one occasion, I've sent a poor unsuspecting client to ask who the security officer is. And to which I simply respond, "That'll happen." So, while becoming a CISO was unintentional, my approach to building information security programs is absolutely not. I've always taken a methodical, mindful approach, and I think that is why I've managed to be successful despite regularly being way outside of my comfort zone. Now, before I wrap up, I want to set the stage for future episodes of the Mindful Business Security Show. Each episode will feature a different guest host that will join me for the show. We'll discuss an information security related topic that they're passionate about and that impacts small businesses. The two of us will take calls from listeners and answer their questions about information security, cybersecurity, in their organization. Our goal with each and every episode is to help our listeners quiet the noise, cut through the confusion, and focus on the right things to ensure that their company can operate efficiently and securely. I'm really excited to create this podcast because I love small businesses. I've spent a lot of time working in small businesses and startups over the years, and I know they face unique challenges that larger organizations simply don't face when implementing an information security program. I've seen firsthand how severely small businesses are underserved by the information security industry because they are seen as an unprofitable market segment. I see this podcast as my opportunity to give back to the community that has given me so much over the years. It is also my opportunity to create value for those small businesses that are struggling with how to deal with cybersecurity and risk management in their organizations. Now, I don't know for sure how frequently we'll release new episodes. The plan right now is monthly, but if we can manage to release more often, we will. Anyway, if you're still listening, thank you. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Mindful Business Security Show. But more than that, I hope you're as excited for episode 1 as I am. Stay tuned because it won't be long. Until then, you can find me on Twitter. My handle there is @accidentalciso. Hit me up and let me know what you think.
Don't miss our next episode. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app and follow us on social media. Visit Focivity.com/podcast. That's FOCIVITY.com/podcast for show information and links to our social media pages. This has been the Mindful Business Security Show, brought to you by Focivity.